Joe Biden is not the defender of American democracy. Joe Biden is the destroyer of American democracy, and it's him and his people.
Here with me on set, Danielle Moody, host of Woke AF Daily, co-host of the Daily Beast New Abnormal podcast, and the co-host of the Democracy-ish podcast. It sounds like you and I need to do a podcast because you don't do enough podcasts. You're not busy enough, Danielle. But we're grateful because you are so busy to join us today. I want to start with this speech that we heard. Well, I chose not to hear, so I'm hearing it, selectively in Iowa. So Trump, not only said President Biden is the destroyer of American democracy, but he said Democrats want to control your social media, cars, and your dishwashers. He didn't include your windmills, which is good. And he also said if Jesus were counting the votes, he would win the blue states of Illinois and New York. I was going to ask you, what does this mean? But as usual, it doesn't really mean anything, right?
No, it doesn't. And Donald Trump is continuing his campaign of projection. Everything that he says about Joe Biden is things that he says himself he will do. He is running his campaign of retribution, right? He is going to indict those that are against him if he becomes president again. He's going to throw them in jail. He wants to shut down this very network, right? He had said MSNBC must go. And so he is telling us everything that he wants to do, and he's saying it out loud. This time, unlike 2016, we need to believe him, right? And I think that what's really important here is that every single time that he says something about Joe Biden, we need to ask ourselves, what have we seen over the last few years under the Biden administration? We've seen him tackle a pandemic, provide vaccines for the American people. We've seen him tackle an economy that the prior administration tanked. We've seen him add more jobs that the prior administration tanked. So again, everything that he says about Joe Biden, a man that is only 36 months older than him, by the way, is something that we know Joe Biden has shown himself and proven himself to be capable to take this country in the direction that it needs. Donald Trump tells us every single time he opens his mouth what he plans to do, which is finish the hit job on our democracy.
And, Danielle, we also heard what the Biden-Harris administration has done and done well through Gavin Newsom. So there was that random debate that popped up between Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis. And I know a lot of people were poo-pooing it before it happened, but I got to be honest, when I watched it, I thought it was refreshing. One, because it reinforced that Ron DeSantis has zero chance. Zero chance whatsoever. Yes. But two, Gavin Newsom took on the mantle, I think, of being an effective, good surrogate for the Biden-Harris administration to talk about its accomplishments. But was somebody listening? Were the important people listening?
I hope that they were, because honestly, I was one of those people that was poo-pooing this entire debate. I thought to myself, why are we doing this right now? We need to be focused on the presidential. But I thought to myself, as I watched Gavin Newsom just mop the floor with Ron DeSantis, why would the DeSantis team even agree to this? Why did they think that this was a great idea? But what it did for the Democrats, I think, is give us the confidence to believe that we do have a pipeline of candidates, that we do have talent that is waiting in the wings, right, to take the mantle and take our progress and our country forward. I think that there has been a level of anxiety and instability in how we are feeling, right, our vibe as a country about our ability to move forward. What Gavin Newsom did was tell us, oh, no, we can. I'm doing it in California. We can do this across the country. And let me debunk one sentence at a time everything that the Republican Party is doing. They are banning books. They want a national ban on abortion. They are coming after the LGBTQ community. They are coming after black people. They are coming after people of color. And what could Ron DeSantis say? No. All of his mumbling, all of his,
and his robotic smile,
and his robotic smile and weird laughter. But he couldn't say that's not true because he had the receipts. Gavin Newsom showed up with the receipts that the Democratic Party needs to use for the next 12 months.
So what does it say, though, that DeSantis has wasted a lot of time? Because you were asking, what is the campaign thinking? Well, clearly not very much and well, because DeSantis just wasted 99 cities in Iowa. I can tell you this, he's spending all his time in Iowa, not in Florida, and we got serious problems in Florida. But he's doing that, but the person, the target of Donald Trump is Nikki Haley. Is that simply because Nikki Haley's running right behind Donald Trump in the numbers, or it's because he actually thinks that Haley is an adversary versus Ron DeSantis, who is not?
I mean, I think that we have all dismissed Ron DeSantis because, again, every time that he opens up his mouth, he doesn't provide us with anything. He doesn't have the oomph that you need to be a U.S. presidential candidate or president. And I think that Nikki Haley, I mean, look, the Koch brother, he's putting all of his money.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money that is going behind Nikki Haley right now. Do I like Nikki Haley? I think that she's not an authoritarian. Do I think that she would be good for the country?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. Absolutely not. So I don't want us to be fooled into a place where, oh, she's not that bad. No, she is. We've watched the things and we've heard her. And she believes in all of the rhetoric that the Republican Party does. She just doesn't offer it with the same hateful zeal that Donald Trump does. But I think that Donald Trump is going after her because she's an easy target. And he needs to dismantle this idea that she has any chance whatsoever. But when you look at Trump and her in comparison, the numbers, give me a break.
So I got like maybe 30 seconds tops. I wanted to share with you something anecdotally. I spoke to a Iowa GOPer this week who told me, you, as in a Democrat, you want Trump to get this nomination. And I looked at him, I'm like, are you crazy? And he said to me, and listen, hear me out for 1 second. He's like, because Biden can beat Trump. He's like, Biden has beaten Trump and Biden can beat Trump. And I sat there and I thought about it for a hot second. I'm like, you know what? Does it make sense? Does it make sense, Danielle?
No one wants Donald Trump as a candidate. Nobody wants him to be the absolute rival to Joe Biden. Do I think that Joe Biden can beat him? Yes, absolutely, I do. But I think that Donald Trump is dangerous and we shouldn't play games with fire.